What up, guys? Trying something a little different. Um, we'll start off with chapter 11. What I'm doing here is recording it, just because I feel like you guys need a break from hearing me talk in such a monotone voice. So now you get to hear it on a voice recording. So here it is, chapter 11, complex surgical instruments. The objective of Chapter 11 is basically to discuss procedures to care for powered surgical instruments, explain critical protocols for processing endoscopes instruments, discuss rigid and flexible endoscopes and their accessories, discuss process for loaned instrumentation. This is a super long chapter. It's literally just about instrumentation. We go over instrumentation every Monday moving forward. So this is just the more complexity of instruments that you might not see in my classroom because either one, they're expensive and I can't really steal it. Two, um, the items are pretty big compared to something that I can go put in my pocket. So the introduction for chapter 11. Advances in many types of surgical procedures have improved patient outcomes and shortened hospital stays and recovery time. At the same time, the instruments used in these procedures have become more complex and difficult to process. Basically stating that instrumentation, as it moves on with technology in the year 2025, has changed throughout the years from the 1800s, let's just say. Um, the whole point of technology now is to do things easier and give less stress for everyone, correct? So with that said, being MIS, minimally invasive surgeries, little incisions rather than big incisions to help patients basically not have a patient get an infection and so on. Procedure may be a little cheaper than actually having a full open cavity, so they'll do a minimal invasive surgery. So surgical instruments have evolved from simple devices to complex surgical devices used today. Many of the complex instruments that sterile processing the SP Tech process require special handling and care. The requirements for processing complex instruments are the same as reprocessing less complex devices. And guess what? It's the IFU. Follow the manufacturer guidelines, and those instructions will show you how to do each step correctly. Thorough cleaning, detailed inspection, proper packaging, and disinfection or sterilization is what we do dealing with complex instrumentation. Complex instruments are costly to purchase and repair and represent a large financial investment for the facility. Hence, why you don't have it in my classroom. It's not that I don't want to take it, it's just I don't want to risk getting caught up. So, moving on, power surgical instruments. The use of drills and saws physicians dates as far back as 5,000 and 7,000 years ago. In the mid-1800s, the dental industry took the lead in powered instrumentation by developing powered dental drills. The fields of neurosurgery, orthopedics, and otology have also played key roles in the development of powered surgical instruments, now used in every specialty. These developments have revolutionized surgery, making procedures both safer and faster. The size and design of power surgical devices range from drills used to the tiniest ear bones and drills and saws used to the largest leg bones. Power surgical instruments have greatly reduced the brute force and time required for orthopedic surgeries. This in turn has allowed surgeons to complete surgeries quicker and with more precision. Rather than using a saw, a blade, and so on, having a drill makes life a lot easier for you surgeons. So with that said, being the cleaning process may be a little more rigid, maybe it'll be a lot more complex knowing that you can't just submerge the instrumentation, especially with drills, because they have an electric output. So you want to make sure you follow the IFU with that step being. Device manufacturer instructions for use. The IFU must be followed to prevent damage. I'm going to show an image right here. That's basically what a drill looks like internally. So you want to make sure you use the correct manufacturer guidelines, the IFU, the standards, when cleaning it, so you don't possibly get those components wet or possibly rust the internals, and then watch that drill not work. Power surgical instruments contain several working components that will damage if fluid such as water or a solution is submerged within that drill. SPD tech should be specifically trained to clean, process, and handle power surgical devices and ensure that fluid invasive does not occur. So a lot of facilities, you may just have an actual sink just to wash powered instruments. The cords that you see that connect to the cameras and so on that I've told you guys about, cords that connect to the drills, all of that's electric operated, the batteries and so on, the drills, all ranging in different sizes. Um, we try to have a sink designated for that if the hospital is big enough, just because it's more of a tedious job compared to washing instruments. Power sources, there are three main sources used for power surgical instruments: electrical, compressed gas, pneumatic, and battery. Electric power surgical instruments. Electric powered instruments are used when physicians need a lightweight instrument for procedures where access is limited, such as maxillofacials, dental, and small bone. Example is basically hand procedures. An arthroscopy shaver is an example of an electric powered instrument. Instruments powered by electricity require a cable that can be sterilized. If y'all ever want to get me a Starbucks drink, this is my favorite drink: a venti iced coffee with half and half and 8 pumps of vanilla. Just saying. No, I'm just kidding. But during cleaning, fluid must not enter the cable or handpiece. Many manufacturers recommend connecting the cable to a handpiece during cleaning and decon process to help prevent fluid invasion. So basically saying, if this is the cord that controls the drill, let's say this is the drill, they want this plugged in just so it doesn't get wet inside and make this component inside damaged. The most common problems associated with electric powered equipment are damage to electrical parts during cleaning and disinfection, sterilization, condensation that enters the equipment when seals wear out, electrical contacts that become worn. The following are general guidelines for proper care and handling of electric powered instruments and accessories. Do not immerse the equipment in any solution, including water, unless the manufacturer's IFU. Like I said, you guys are going to hear IFU every single time. Do not use solvent or lubricant unless specified by the equipment's manufacturer. Use a brush to clean the distal tip and lumens. Follow the IFU for the correct size and type of brush for use of each area. Carefully clean the accessories attachment area in the distal area of the handpiece. Dry the equipment with a clean, non-lifting cloth. Electric powered devices usually have a control switch in the handpiece. However, some electric powered equipment can be operated with a foot switch. Foot switches, basically, what a foot switch is, having one of those old school vacuums where you connect it and then you push the button with your toe at the very bottom and it turns on the vacuum. Same exact concept of a push switch. Foot switches may have a cable attached to the instrument console, or they may be wireless. Pneumatic powered instruments. Pneumatic compressed air gas powered instruments come in various sizes and allow the surgeon to work on small, medium, and large bones. Sternal saws, sagittal saws, and drills are popular pneumatic powered instruments. Pneumatic powered instruments require a hose that can be sterilized. I'll show you a picture of a pneumatic hose right here. And then I'll also show you a spine drill right here. That's pneumatic. It's called a Midas Rex, commonly used in spine. I'll put it right here. Instrument hoses must be carefully inspected for cleanliness. Hoses must also be inspected for nicks and other possible damage. They must be pressurized for proper inspection. Therefore, air gas source is required in the processing area. If the hose becomes damaged or bubbled, it must be removed from service. Fluid may not enter the hose or handpiece during processing. To properly care and handle a pneumatic equipment, use a decon hose to protect inner components. Never immerse any solutions. Read the IFU, guys. Carefully clean the outer casing of the handpiece using a damp cloth, non-lint cloth. So let's say if I have a pneumatic drill. Let's just say this knife is a pneumatic drill. I will have my spray hose. Do not submerge it. So if you can't see it, that means it's submerged. Do not submerge it. So basically keep it right above the water and just basically spray it down. Spray it down on both sides. And then what you're gonna do is basically get a wet cloth or a sponge, depending on your hospital, whatever they have available. Soak it in the enzymatic, and then basically scrub it down. And after you scrub it down, wherever the output where the electric cord will connect to, have it face the opposite. So let's say if this is where the tip of the drill is, where you're drilling into the human body, and this would be where you plug it in, have it faced up, and now spray it down. So basically this will not get wet. The whole point is to protect the electrical components from getting wet. Moving on. To clean the attachments that belong to the drill, usually they'll have different types of attachments for different types of drilling. I guess you got burrs, you got actual saws, you got blade-shaped saws, and so on and so on. So those attachments that connect to that drill, you basically, if it's lumened, if you can see through it, a cannulated section, you basically just clean it with a brush, a pull through, rabbit's foot, and so on. Battery powered surgical instruments. This is on page 172. You guys all saw what the battery looks like. You guys all decided to start wrapping it. So that shouldn't be an issue for you guys. Battery powered surgical instruments are cord free and work well with the procedures performed on larger, denser bones. Total hip and knee replacement surgeries are an example of such procedures. You know, they're not going to use a big powered drill with that type of battery on someone's nose or ear or face. One, the battery is literally as big as an iPhone. So that's literally crushing half of the face already. So imagine how much power it's doing. They're going to use probably a small drill, let's just say as big as this highlighter, if they're going to do something in the nasal area. Because a big drill is literally going to cover the whole entire face, and then the amount of pressure that drill is going to be hitting, it'll literally crush the face. So they'll use something minor. So for instance, for the ladies that get your nails done, you know, when they flatten down and then shape around your cuticles and whatnot, they may use a drill similar to that, or that size at least, or if they're doing anything in the facial ENT area. Common powered surgical instruments: dermatome, dermabraids for harvesting skin grafts or reshaping skin surfaces, sebatomes for removing bone cement, sternum saws to split the sternum and allow access to open heart surgery. Those are one of my favorite drills, guys. I already have warned you guys that heart and vascular is one of my favorite type of instrumentation. I was a go-to guy at the majority of all my hospitals in regards to vascular and heart instrumentation, because one, it's super complex. Two, not only is it complex, it's also a liability job or for being a tech, because they always often have blood. So for me to like be sufficient in heart and vascular is one of those things where you can be gold at a hospital. If they find out you're good at heart, they'll leave you on heart. So I always recommend you guys, if I tell you guys every other week basically, find the service line you'll like, just because it can help you progress faster. Especially if you want to get into leadership and management. You got dental drills for repair, reconstructing work on teeth and jawbones, micro drills for reshaping middle ear bones or driving very small wires through bones. Then you got wire drivers, drills, and saws to work on the smallest facial bones to the largest bones, such as the leg. Saws designed to perform specific cutting actions. To properly care for battery-powered instruments, never immerse the handpiece, follow the IFU. Clean surgical debris from the attachment. So let's say there's a bunch of bone cement on this drill. You basically will use a brush to and fro motion until that bone cement is off, and then use a sponge if that needed be, if it's super bloody. Rinse with water while assuring that the water does not enter the battery contact area. So like I said, guys, if it is battery operated from the bottom of the handle and the drill's facing like an L basically, so it's shaped like this, the battery goes here. You want to make sure when you're spraying it, you're spraying nowhere near the battery connection. Use a decontamination battery to protect electrical components for moisture. Every hospital may have a decon battery. It's super rare, but if you do have a decon battery, you're more than welcome to use that. But the 21 hospitals I've been to, they do not have a decon battery. Pause.